Analyzing data is something which is done by software developers, machine learning engineers, front-end developers, product managers, and data scientists. And those are only a few of the roles that need to analyze data. Taking this into account, there is no wonder there are plenty of tools to analyze data. You can use plain SQL, you can use Jupyter notebooks or plain code. You can use the bash scripts to analyze data with tools such as grep, sed, and more. You can use Excel to analyze data. You can use any programming language to analyze data, and you can use tools such as Looker and alike to analyze data. All these tools progress and add features as users and developers need it. A recent feature which was added to Excel is the Lambda expression, or the ability to create functions in Excel. Now you may say, but we already had this ability. We could create already macros in Excel. And with macros, we could create basically any code we want. But this is not the same, because with Lambda, what we are doing is reusing the standard Excel function. So in Lambda, if you have the Excel function mid, then you can use it inside the Lambda to define a new function. And you can give this new function a name and variables and then reuse it. This is a big change for Excel. And while with macros, you could have security issues because you could practically run any code you want with the approval of the users, this would be a security hole. With Lambda, this is not the case. You can use standard Excel file format, and only use the already functions that exist in Excel and not some arbitrary JavaScript or VBScript macro and run some DLLs. No, in this case, in Lambda in Excel, you run plain Excel functions, and this is the big difference. This is the big change. With Lambda, Excel is now said to be Turing-complete language, which means you can use Excel to write any algorithm you want, practically. In addition, for it to be Turing-complete, you need something like a jump or a loop, and indeed, in Lambda, you can achieve loops by recursion, so you can recursively recall your Lambda function. Because you are going to use Lambda functions, this means you are going to have less errors and more commonality and ability to share your Excel files, because you can take a long, complex Excel multifunction where you call multiple functions and put them all in a single Lambda. And then you can use recursion in order to do loops. When you create a Lambda, you can basically give it a name, give the function a name, and you can also accept variables. You can also accept arrays into the Lambda, which is an argument of type array, and you can also accept multiple data types into Excel. I haven't seen the Lambda yet on my local Excel on Mac, nor in the online Excel. I think it's still a beta feature, and I hope we would get this feature as soon as possible, because if you used Excel, then you know that you always need to create some complex functions, and it's not easy, and you need to search Google for which function takes which arguments, and now you can practically use it as something more of a programming language where you define functions and you call them from your Excel. I think this is a big benefit to Excel, and I think this is something that where they are raising the bar in Excel as an immediate reaction to the shift that people are trying to make into Jupyter Lab and Jupyter Notebooks, because Excel has its own many advantages. You see always the data on the screen. You manipulate the data visually. It's like taking something in your hands and manipulating it versus scripting and computer languages like when you use Python in Jupyter Lab, where you need to type something in order to see the data. With Excel, it's first see the data, then manipulate it, while with Jupyter Notebooks and scripting language, it's first write the script, then see the data. So I think this is a great benefit to Excel, and this would make Excel much more usable and much friendlier for people to use it. Excel is already an excellent tool, and people should appreciate it more, especially programmers, just like business intelligence people which are mainly dealing with Excel. Not all of them, many of them are writing computer programs, but the ones which are dealing with Excel should also appreciate, on the other hand, the other programming language such as you can use in Jupyter Lab. And this addition to Excel is a great one which should be embraced by all of us. So I think this addition is a great one, and this episode was pretty interesting. So thank you for listening. I hope this shed some light on what is the addition of the Lambda and why is it so important in Excel. See you next time.